am very worried about Bryce Harper. I am extremely worried about Bryce Harper. We need Bryce Harper to be a superstar with how fragile this offense is. I'm aware of the starting pitching. I'm aware of what this team has shown us through July 1st. They are screwed unless we get a ridiculous version of Bryce Harper. And I don't know if that's what the rest of the season is going to be, unfortunately. Let's listen to what Bryce Harper had to say about his wrist before yesterday's game against the Padres.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to take any other steps forward of feeling better or anything like that. I thought we were kind of at a standstill of it feeling the same the last couple of days, and from BP to live and things like that, kind of gave us the same results each day. So I thought today was a good one.
Is it something you're going to have to manage, though, in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine so. I'm not sure yet what that's going to feel like. So we're going to, as I go, I think, and as I know you guys will, and Tomper as well. So we'll see, how I feel tonight, tomorrow.
It's clear to me that he expected to feel significantly better now than he does. And now it's just monitoring. It almost sounds to me that Bryce is frustrated with where he's at. And he knows the wrist is bothering him. He knows the wrist is going to limit him. And if that's the case, I'm scared. Because we live in a world where we can have a legitimate debate if it makes more sense to get a bat for this order or bullpen help. Just to put it in perspective on how fragile this offense is. This bullpen sucks. They suck. You shouldn't be able to debate it at all if you need anything more than bullpen. Because it's that bad. You have one arm in Orion Kerkering. So the fact that you can debate if it makes sense to improve the offense when you are that thin in the back part of your bullpen, it tells you how badly you need the Bryce Harper that can play at an MVP clip, that can be the face of the league style of dominant. And I don't know if his wrist is going to allow for him to show that ceiling. If he has to push through, we may get a good Bryce, but the question is, can a good Bryce deliver the way that he did in previous postseasons? Because the reason why you get a big bomb against San Diego or a big bomb against the Atlanta Braves where there's a stare down, it's because Bryce is at the top of his game. And if he's not at the top of his game, can you still survive? And I have trouble wondering if they can. And this isn't about winning a regular season series, beating up on the Padres, winning against the Cubs in June. I'm talking about winning a World Series. Can Nick, Bohm, Trey, Kyle, can they all make up for what you're missing out of Bryce due to the wrist injury? I hope so. And there's nothing I want than to be wrong. But it hits me a certain type of way when Bryce addresses the media with that tone. That stunned me. Just flat out was straight up, open, and honest. Yeah, this is where we're at. I'm not seeing any progression. Yikes! That was my first reaction. Yikes! He kind of looked defeated. Now, he played yesterday. Got out there, hit by a pitch, had a walk on base a couple times. Maybe it's the fear factor that keeps this aligned, meaning the other team is afraid just because it's the presence of Bryce And that alone forces them to walk Bryce and then attack the next guy, and maybe the next guy can hit a 2-run jack, and it falls on the shoulder of somebody else. But listen to these playoff moments. And 215-592-9494. Do they need superstar Bryce for you to feel good about their chances in the playoffs? That's my question to you as we get started. But take a listen to these postseason moments. Let's start with what Bryce did a few years back against the San Diego Padres.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive, left field. It's deep. It's going,
yes!
And it is gone!
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me?
His 10th career home run in the postseason, and he may never hit a bigger one.
I got damn goosebumps listening to that. I'm not going to lie. I've heard that call a billion times from Fransky, but it's been a while since I heard it and got the chills going. And the thing is, that's not the only time Bryce Harper delivered with the lights shining bright. This is what went down against the Braves.
The right-hander's pitch. Swung on. Belted. Wow. Deep right field. And it's long gone for Harper. A second deck 3-run home run for Bryce Harper as he punishes that pitch from Bryce Elder. And the Phillies take the 4-1 lead.
Rick Kranitz had just hung up the phone in the Braves dugout before that pitch was thrown. Not that it would have made any difference, but they might have seen something coming.
I love it. Now, that's the Bryce. I wanted to lay that out for you so you can understand the Bryce that helped them get to the World Series. The Bryce that helped them get to the NLCS. This is the guy that was squaring up the baseball, hitting moonshots, and sending CBP to a different universe with energy. That's what it takes to get to where we've been over the last couple of years prior to the NLDS loss to the New York Mets. Do we have that Bryce? And the answer is no. Now, do we have a crap Bryce Harper? No. I don't think it's that either. So then, as we peel the layers back, we can start wondering if the starting pitching is so elite that that's a way for you to make up for what you're losing with Bryce Harper not being 100%. If Nick Castellanos goes on a tear, if someone like Trey plays at a pace where he's getting on base and his OBP is through the roof and he's causing chaos on the bases and they're playing small ball and they can just be effective in other ways, who's to say that Bryce is the only way for it to be life or death, if you will, in the postseason? Sure. I think you can maybe talk your way through certain lanes throughout this combo, but at the end of the day, superstars win you games. It's just what it is. Sometimes we overcomplicate this. It's about your superstars delivering when it is time for them to be at the dish. And if Bryce is going to be at 65, 70% and very limited with this wrist, we don't get Bedlam at the bank. We don't get Arcia stare downs. We don't get those moments. And if we don't get those moments, do we advance? 215-592-9494. Your worry meter on Bryce Harper. And do you think we need the Bryce that you just heard for this team to get the job done? Hell, there probably are fans who think even if we had that Bryce, we may not be good enough. I guess I haven't been the most optimistic on this team, so you could probably sell me that side of it. But I'll tell you for free, it puts you in a way better position when that guy is on fire and when that guy's healthy. And he sounds like he is the farthest thing from healthy you can find in terms of a player that's available. And that is dangerous to me. 215-592-9494. Luke Nichols is producing tonight's program. Would love to get your thoughts, Luke. When it comes to Bryce, the worry meter, where do you stand with his health status?
I'm very worried. If I had to put it through a 1 to 10 scale, I'd put it at like an 8. Because, I mean, if this wrist thing is something that's going back to last season, obviously this is something that's going to flare up again. And when is it going to flare up again? Is it going to be, next week? Is it going to be in a couple months? Is it going to be right before the playoffs? Is he going to be battling through the postseason with a bum wrist, and then he doesn't have that power, and next thing you know, he's just kind of turning into a singles, doubles kind of a guy? I don't know. I don't need this to be an injury that is just constantly coming up at the worst possible times. Next thing you know, he's out 2 weeks here. He's out 3 weeks there. He's out a week here. Next thing you know, he's being looked at as Mike Trout. I'm very worried about this. The fact that now, I have no idea if he could have gotten it taken care of or some kind of operation surgery done in the offseason to really fix it, where, maybe he misses the first month or two of the season, but he's back fully healthy. A bit disappointed if that was on the table and he didn't do that. I'm disappointed that he didn't, but you kind of need this Bryce Harper. You need the Harper that we heard from the Bedlam at the Bank call, staring down Arcia, coming up in the first inning of the World Series Game 3 and just cranking a home run off of Lance McCullers. Like, you need that Bryce because the rest of the team feeds off of that Bryce. Like, they feed off of Schwarber when he's hot and some other guys here or there, and when Wheeler's dealing and Sanchez and these guys, but this team feeds off of Harper just in a different way. Like, when he gets up there and he rips a double in his first at-bat, and he's got a single, and he's hitting a home run, he's got 2 home runs in a game, like, they all feed off of that, and the energy is different in the stadium, in the ballpark, and in the dugout, even in the opposing team's dugout. Like, they know, we got that Harper today. We got to be a little careful here. So, no, you need that Harper back, and I'm very worried that we may never see that again.
Sure, no doubt about it. And long-term, yeah, no doubt. I'm worried about never seeing it again either. But just from the vision and through the lens of this season in particular, I definitely don't assume that we get that Bryce. And you nailed it perfectly. You're right. When he's in the batter's box and he's got that swag and he's got that look in his eyes of there's no way in hell anything is going to happen except for a rocket to right center field, or it's going to be a bomb. There's no doubt about it. And the entire team just gets hit. They get hit with this energy. They get hit with this it factor that is smacking them in the face, and it is so contagious. And when you have a broken down, beaten down version of Bryce, it just doesn't hit the same. And I am very worried that that can be part of their downfall moving forward here. The number one thing on the list, and this is a conversation for another day, is the incompetence from Dave Dombrowski to put together a horrid roster. I think that's problem number one. But if you are going to try and maximize what you do have, and you take a look at some additions that you make for your bullpen, and this is it. We're going to war with this group, and let's see how it all transpires. If this is what we got, we need Bryce to be the face of dominance. And I don't know if we are necessarily going to be able to get that now. Let's go to the phones and kick things off. Let's go to Ron in Williamstown. Ron, you're on WIP.
Brodes, what's up, brother?
What's up, Ron?
I'm glad to hear you talking about this. I have a major problem with trying to put everything on Bryce, because what have all these hundreds of millions of dollars that we spent on the rest of the players, what are they doing? We haven't hit anything with Bryce out of the lineup. They're not doing a damn thing, and we have to put the whole thing on one man. I mean, I want to see Bryce do better, but I'm totally offended by the fact that Castellanos ain't there. We just got a couple guys to have 10 home runs, and we're in July.
Yeah.
This lineup was supposed to be a band park, and we can't hit home runs. What is going on?
It's a good question, Ron. And just to be clear, by no means am I mad at Harper himself. This is just the nature of being a player and all that. So I'm not saying Harper must be a superhero and it's all on him to just be a figure that never gets banged up or anything. But you're right. When you look at it with that sort of view here, though, it's disappointing that I feel this reliant on Bryce Harper when you pay Nick to be a right-handed power bat. Ron, we're sitting here saying Dave needs to get a right-handed power bat at the deadline. That's why you gave Nick Castellanos hundreds of millions of dollars. So shame on everyone else.
Exactly. And the pitching staff, they're incredible. I watched this team since the 70s, and I watched the 11 staff. I venture to say these guys are better than the 11 staff. They're killing it. But our bats aren't coming through. And we're putting everything on Bryce. I mean, I want Bryce to come through too, no doubt. But come on, where's the rest of the team?
Sure. Ron, I think it's a very, very fair point, and thank you so much for taking your time to call in. I agree. That is another way to sort of look at this is why? Why are we putting this much pressure on Bryce having to carry the workload and be the only one that can help us here? This is where you show your worth. This is where you show your next man up mentality. If you lose your left tackle and you have 3 playoff games to go, who's going to slide in there and help? It's Vitae, right? Now, of course, superstars do help you win. Bryce Harper is a big key to the contribution, but sometimes you get smacked in the face with reality and someone isn't able to do exactly what you need them to do. And the sign of a great team is for them to watch Kyle Schwarber go nuclear, to watch Alec Boehm pull a crazy stretch out of his rear end. Hey, here's one. JT Realmuto doesn't ground out into a damn double play or doesn't roll the ball over softly to shortstop. In hitters counts. 3-1 count, you know what's coming. 2-0 count, you know what's coming. Every single time. Hey, how about Stott? How about Kepler? Stop crying, stop complaining, and figure it the hell out to be a piece that contributes. Where's everybody else in the time of need? And again, if you think about it, if Bryce is giving us 70% of a Bryce, okay, good, not great, 70%. I'm asking you to make up 30% of Bryce, not 100. He's not down and out and unplayable. He's just playing at a good clip, not an elite clip. So we're asking you to fill the gap here. I'm asking you for 30% as a team. Everyone on the roster as a team. Fill the void of 30% of what Bryce is missing. And we seem to be struggling in that department, which, is kind of depressing. Let's go to Anthony in Northeast Philly. What's up, Ant?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So, we can't blame Bryce. Unfortunately, it's the bullpen. I personally feel like it's the bullpen. We have offense. Still, no, it's not as explosive as it was, but neither is our bullpen. And everything. I'm a baseball player to this day, and it really relies on your bullpen. When you got guys like Aaron Nola who. And when he's still leaving pitches over the plate, and he's getting rocked all season.
Well, Nola hasn't pitched in a billion years because he's been injured.
He was, and he did not have a good start to the season whatsoever.
No,
at all.
No, he didn't.
And it was not the Aaron Nola that we're used to whatsoever either. Aaron Nola comes out and he strikes dudes out, and he throws dimes and throws dots, and he was just throwing meatballs over the plate. And now Nick Castellanos, and then the whole Ranger Suarez thing, the whole energy of the Phillies has just been not the Phillies this year.
No, you're right. I think that's a great point to bring up, Ant, because you see Nick and Rob drama, and I thought in the moment Rob ended up, handling that pretty well for the unique personality that Nick is, but then you get the Kepler stuff, and he's taking it to the media, and we're not used to seeing this much, whether it's aggressive, not aggressive, there's a lot of noise, and it's an aggressive amount of noise, and teams that win, do you normally have these type of stories constantly getting thrown out there week after week?
No, our noise was we were setting records for fans breaking, earthquake records when home runs were hit. Now we got nothing.
Right.
We barely even got home runs.
Yeah.
So,
listen, and I
getting older.
Yep. I agree.
Unfortunately, he's going to take some time to heal, but I still think he is Bryce. He's got great energy. He's got great motive. He's got great, sportsmanship, great leadership. He's still the same Bryce. He's just injured. Wait till he comes back.
All right, I hope he can get back. That's the thing, is it seems like time didn't fix it. Last offseason didn't fix it. He went to certain specialists. Obviously, they got all the information they can. I do want to be clear here. I'm not blaming Bryce Harper, right? Like, I'm not saying this is all on Bryce Harper's shoulders, but I do think that you need a certain version of Bryce because you need a certain version of superstars. And if you're not going to get that due to injury, okay, I'm acknowledging that might be where we are. So either you believe that the rest of the team can hold their own weight and give you a little extra to make up for what you're missing with Bryce, or they're just not going to be able to get it done. And that's where my fear is they're not able to get it done. So this is me sort of coming to grips with, I already had concerns about this group, but without Bryce, it's insane. It's insane what they're going to be missing. And I just think they're going to have a good Bryce, not an elite Bryce. And they need an elite Bryce. And I'm not mad at Bryce for that. It's just the reality of, man, even with a good Bryce, I was worried about the pen. Now it's the pen and having a wrist injury version of Bryce. And it's more of me talking through the reality here. And that is, we thought we had it bad prior to this. Now you factor this in, and it only makes it worse.
Last year, I mean, Harper was great against the Mets. It was, I think, him and Castellanos and Wheeler were the only ones who showed up in that series. But that whole second half of the year, he had that month where he was on just a straight power drought. And we were just kind of treading water. They didn't really know what to do. I mean, that was the entire team, but again, it was Harper struggling and not really being himself. Maybe not struggling, but he wasn't great. He was just, good. He was good enough in going through that power drought, and the team just was flat the entire time.
Well, here's the thing. He was probably dealing with this wrist.
Probably was.
Yup. So this wrist equals no power. And no power, Bryce, it changes the dynamic because this team lacks power. And that's something that you heavily relied on. I'm not mad at him for it. It's just where I'm at when talking about this baseball team right now. 215-592-9494. We will continue taking your phone calls and reacting to the fact that I am panicking insanely thinking about the current state of Bryce Harper because I'm already very worried about the state of the Phillies. And you factor this in, I was hoping for good news. I was praying that at some point we'd at least get 2 thumbs up that the wrist is starting to feel better and he's starting to feel more normal. But instead, he sounds frustrated. He sounds beat up. He sounds annoyed by it, alluding to the fact that this may linger for the rest of time, at least this season. And if it lingers for this season, it's only going to make it that much more difficult for a team that I already knew had flaws. 215-592-9494. Coming up next, your phone calls. And I could see Dave Dombrowski doing something that is organizational malpractice. I'll get into that as well. It's Brodes. It's 94 WIP. All right, so this is what we're talking about to start this evening's show, and I am just panicking about Bryce Harper. And I need your help. Either tell me I'm an idiot, which is fair. I told you could. Either say I'm just overreacting and I'm a good man that just happens to be emotional. That's preferred. You can tell me that. Or you could say, Brodes, you're nailing it right on the head, my friend. There are reasons to be this worried. There are reasons to be this scared. There are reasons to have this pit in your stomach when it comes to the superstar because, well, quite frankly, we need him. And I'm not sure if he's going to be, this year, I'm looking at the lens of this year trying to win a World Series, if he's going to be able to live up to what we need him to be. And I'm not throwing blame on him. The way it sounds as if I'm saying, hey, man, the world's on your shoulders. You better step up or screw you. But that's not what I'm saying at all. I don't think this is a fixable issue. And it's not his fault in particular. Now, it probably has a trickle-down effect where we start yelling at Dave Dombrowski for roster construction, and that's where the issue lies more. But tell me how you feel about it. 215-592-9494. What to watch for is brought to you by Xfinity Mobile, the sponsor of WIP's Xfinity Mobile Lounge. The Wi-Fi is booming. Unlock faster, secure speeds at home and on the go, only from Xfinity Mobile. What I want you to watch for tonight is NBA and NHL free agency. You just never know when there's going to be a shams bomb dropped on Twitter, right? Or if we get some big NHL news from local Frank Saravalli. You just don't know. So keep your eyes and ears out to see if something massive happens. We are going to get right back to the phones in a moment here. But I do want to tell you about something I'm worried about with Dave Dombrowski and organizational malpractice that may be ahead of us here in a short time. And that is Ranger Suarez. There is one thing you cannot do. You listening to me? There is one thing you cannot do. And that's have Ranger Suarez walk at the end of the year. Now, that opens up two possibilities. Either that means you sign him to an extension, or you trade him. I do not want to trade Ranger. That's not what I'm calling for. So obviously, I'm calling for option A. Even with the worries about innings eaten, and once he hits a certain time of the year, he hits a wall, and the back, and the lingering dead arm stuff that we've seen, whatever it is. When he's on his A game, it is so rare and so special, you got to factor that in. So, you must either get assets for this type of skill that you're not re-signing, or you re-sign him. It is organizational malpractice to have someone with that type of talent leave and get nothing in return. You could sell me letting Kyle Schwarber walk at the end of the year without getting return at the deadline. You can sell me JT at the end of the year. Hey, thank you for everything you've done. You're just cooked. Doesn't mean I like it, especially with the Kyle thing, but you can sell me that. I do not see a world where you can sell me. It's a good and smart idea to run this out with Ranger, see what happens, and then you play the ball as it lies heading into the offseason. That's a disgrace. That's a bad way to utilize your assets. I get it. Sometimes some people do leave. And they leave in free agency. And you can't either sign or trade everybody. I get that. That's why you can see maybe that happening with Kyle. And I can live with that. I can see where the ball lies and play it as it lies with Kyle. I can't with Ranger. That one hits different. So figure it out. Dave, ball's in your court. You must get it done. Let's go to the Colonel. You're on WIP.
Brodes.
What up?
All right. Ranger, I'll give you a good take on that.
Okay.
I agree.
Thank you.
You got to get something for him or you got to extend him.
Right. Preferably extend him, right?
Agreed.
Okay.
But on the rest of the team, you said to call you an idiot? I think you're an idiot.
I said preferably not that one, but okay, I'll take it.
We're talking about a baseball team that's tied for third best record in all baseball. And it sounds like people are calling in talking about the worst team in baseball. I don't understand it. I mean, home runs, we're like 15th out of 30 teams. That's minus Harper's 10 plus more if he's actually playing. You know what I'm saying?
So I'll say this.
The team is playing.
I'll just say,
I feel is playing well without Harper.
Yeah, you're not wrong. This is where I think people like me come in, and I'm definitely more down on the team than positive, even with their record. And it's just one of those things where they're going to be good in the regular season. They're going to have a good record compared to some of these other teams and all. But when we think about winning a championship, you kind of get that feeling. Last year's team, for example, with the Eagles, you just knew something was special about them. And when you get these runs where a team starts to prove their worth throughout the regular season, there's a mojo, there's a flow, there's an arrogance, there's this confidence and cockiness. And there's just something about the team where it states, we got it. And I think there's something with this team that doesn't scream that. So then it's hard for us now, knowing what championship caliber teams look like, to buy in if they don't pass the eye test. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I understand what you're saying, and I think they might be a move away from that mojo.
Okay. I would love that.
I still think they could win the World Series as they are put together right now.
With this bullpen.
I think they're absolutely good enough. I would love another bullpen piece, but even with the bullpen, I think they could.
Wow. All right, Colonel, thank you so much for calling in. I have to disagree with the bullpen side of it. They can win with this staff, and they could probably win with this offense if everything else was perfect. The staff is so good, it can make up for flaws with the offense. I do think that's possible. But they have one bullpen arm. And for the 1,000th time on these airwaves, you have half a guy. Not even one full guy. I think Kirkering's a half a guy. I'm just not ready to say he's no doubt, unbelievable, locked down, Game 5 of an NLDS in a one-run game against the heart of the order with the Dodgers. You know? Am I ready to say yeah? I would be with Alvarado. I would be with guys that we've seen over the years where it was money every time they stepped on the mound in the 8th or in the 9th. I'll say, hell yeah, bring on your best shot, damn it. You're going to go down. With Kirkering, I'm holding my breath. The bullpen is nowhere even close to being able to compete for a championship. That's the truth. Let's go to Tim in New Jersey. What's happening, Tim?
Yo, what's up, Brodes?
What up?
How you doing? This is my first time calling into the radio station. Long-time listener, old Catali guy, and you got me back. I'm in the orange and black.
Wow.
Let's puck it up.
You want to puck it up? Yeah, puck it up.
Puck it up. And this year we're going to get it.
You think this year they're going to go after it and make a nice little run?
Know. You keep filling my head with information. I'm going to buy in. I'm all in with you.
Well, listen, I'm definitely very excited to be a big-time fan that waves the Flyers fandom flag here, but I'm a little on some things that they've done as of recent. I hate to say that.
Yeah, and I don't know a whole lot. I can't talk all the politics of all this stuff, but when I listen to you, I just want to let you know it is entertaining. Man.
Wow. Well, thank you, Tim. I greatly do appreciate that.
Yeah, but get on the Phillies. Yeah, I'm with you. Get rid of somebody. We need some big arms in that bullpen.
It's a must. They can't survive without it.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
We're going to rest your laurels on all these, hey, they're getting old, long in the tooth. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we got to bring something in if we want to get the championship.
Do you trust Dave?
I was there when they lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks in that Game 7.
Oof.
It was fun, but goddamn, it was upsetting.
Do you trust Dave, Tim?
I don't even know what to think about those front office people. You know what I mean? They don't give a crap. They drive their yachts all over the place. You know what I mean? They don't care. They're just putting people in the seats and making money.
Well, Tim, thank you. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. There is something to, and I don't want to say Dave just wants money in his pockets and yachts, but I think there's something to Dave maybe not having the emotional connection to this gig compared to the Nashville thing.
What is with the Nashville thing?
Why, you don't like that people bring that up?
It's so annoying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, not that. I'm annoyed that it's even a thing. I'm annoyed. Bring it up all you want. I'm fine with talking about it. I want to talk about it because Why is he so focused on a job that doesn't exist yet? Why is that even a possibility? Like, what? You're the current general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, one of the most popular teams in the league, with one of the most diehard fan bases in the league, and you're worried about a job that doesn't exist yet? If that's true, like, what are we doing?
Well, that's where we got him. We got him from his little stint that was about to happen with Nashville. So he was a part of the Nashville process, and we plucked him from there. So that's where it starts, is he was involved with the potential uprise of a Nashville team prior to even coming to Philly, but that's why I think his heart was there. I believe when the Phillies reached out to Dave and wanted to acquire him and bring him in and move on from Matt Klentak and that whole shebang, I think his heart was so set on building this foundation there. He already has his championships. He doesn't have that hunger and desire where he needs another. His mantle was already addressed with a couple of those World Series trophies. So at this point, it's almost house money. And if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't.
I get that, but it hasn't even felt like he's been a GM like, it's already got my championships. I got my World Series. I can start wheeling and dealing and whatnot. He hasn't been the same Dave Dombrowski that he was in Boston or Miami or whatever. Boston, he's trading the entire farm system for a championship. We're keeping our farm system intact for years and years. I mean, we traded, O'Hoppe and Clausen last year and the Allegretti guy or whatever, a couple big prospects here or there, but our top guys, like our cream of the crop guys, we've held on to. And he just hasn't done anything with them. So that makes me think it's like, let me not destroy this franchise and then leave in 2 years like I did with the Red Sox because he knows he's going to take the Nashville
How about
job.
this, dude? Because I'm just Googling it just to get all the facts straight.
Mm-hmm.
This was written on December 11th, 2020. Okay? Dave Dombrowski to continue Nashville's baseball expansion team effort while inside the Phillies. Dave Dombrowski now has 2 jobs. The longtime baseball executive, who has been a key part of an effort to bring MLB to Nashville, became the Phillies president of baseball ops. But Dombrowski's new position will not prevent him from continuing his work with Music City Baseball, the group trying to bring a major league team to Nashville. And then one of the managing directors of Music City Baseball says, "We're not losing David. We're just lending him to the Phillies." Holy hell, I can't be more pissed off right now than I ever could imagine me being.
See what I mean? This is why it annoys me. Listen
to this. David is now back in baseball, and I think it's good for him. And it's good for us. It puts him back in the game. And he's a big fan of Nashville. Him and his wife have built a house here and settled here. He's going to stay on in his current role with us as a baseball advisor. That was part of his agreement with the Phillies, and that's going to work out great. Dude, I'm ready to throw hands.
See what I mean?
I'm ready to throw hands. That is disgusting. Woof! Disgusting. Get out of my face! That's what I'm saying to Dave the first time I see him.
Like, this is ridiculous. It's so stupid.